whatever India faces the problem, it's 20% of the world, right? So the biggest issue that I hear from most of the Indian parents is, मेरा बेटा खाना नहीं खा रहा है. Like, my son is not eating, my daughter is not eating. When we go back and ask, like, in UK especially, for example, UK primary education gets a meal in the school. I think India does as well. But there is a way to feed in the schools. They have, as you rightly mentioned, nutrition, categorized food. Yeah. There's something with fiber, something with carbs, something with protein and all. Yeah. But when you can come back home, they're like, you're not eating rice. That's the biggest problem that Indian parents have.
Native food, yeah.
Native food, right? I mean, how do you solve this problem? And I'm sure you'd have heard about it from your clients as well.
Yeah.
My son doesn't eat food. When you talk about what food you mean, for majority of our population, Maharashtra, Telugu, Tamil, like South Indian, or it's all about rice. They want to feed kids with bunch of rice.
Grandparents have been eating that stuff for donkey's years, yeah. So it's not the rice.
But is it a carb primary issue?
We Indians are not vegetarians or non-vegetarians. We are carbitarians. So we need carb in every meal. But then you know what? 70% carb has been a staple for the world that was laborious in profession. When you were performing labor, it was okay to take that kind of calorie intake. Now we are seeing it's become a vicious cycle. Too much carb plus too much fat plus fried carbohydrate and 10-15% protein. There is going to be an obesity revolution because the activity levels have changed. Where if you take per capita, India used to be 1600 calories per head when we grew up per day. Now it has slowly gone up to 2400. The US is at 3600. The Middle East is at 34. They are also larger body types. They are, they look much larger and much bigger. But that's coming at a price. Those who are athletic are fine. Those who aren't athletic are beginning to develop these kind of lifestyle metabolic diseases. Because the metabolic pressure, if you're born with a particular weight, let's say you're about at 18, let's say you were 80 kgs. You can at the most pull off 15% on that. Beyond that, your organs aren't going to be able to service that size. So you have to learn to keep it within 15-20%. That's the hypertrophy zone. But we are seeing that children are hitting that zone at 18. The baseline is becoming 100. So I have so many children globally reporting to me who are above 130, 140, 150.
In what age?
This is between 18 to 22. And that's the baseline now.
Wow.
Now, in your mind, you could bring it down to genetics, you could bring it down to environment. You can keep looking for causes. It's that kid who has to take control at the end of the day. Yeah. The parents can enable support, but and I've seen a lot of children take. So when I chat with them, they're very keen to step up. But my worry is when that becomes the new normal. When you have more obese kids in a school than not. We're already seeing it. I've been a couple of schools here in UK I was watching, and there are significantly more. I mean, 25-30% now.
The biggest problem in UK at the moment in the schools is the mental health issues below 15, below 12 years old. And so some of the studies says it's to do with their body types as well. Like mental health cannot be separated from physical health is what. And you rightly work in that area. And that's the primary reason I was actually bringing you onto the show. So if you can quickly tell me, how does your mental health is driven by physical health primarily?
Yeah.
And when you speak, you do a lot of counseling to the kids. Do they come back and tell, some of the kids were bullied because of their weight and whatever it is, and then that they ended up getting into depression, whatever it is. Yeah. Is that the story? Yeah.
There's a lot of diagnostics now in the field of mental health. So a lot of people are looking for a particular condition which allopathy has always been traditionally diagnostic driven. So even with mental health, a lot of mothers tell me, oh, he's got X, Y, Z, whether it's ADHD or whatever, there's always a rush to diagnose and then medicate. And again, we're still fitting into some kind of perfect human theory where everyone has a 180 IQ. Or he's not normal, he's subnormal. Or he's got a BMI of 21, he's athletic, or he's subnormal. We are not making room for variability in the human race. Physical competency and intellectual. So I think we have to acknowledge that not all of us can be medicated into perfection. So that when you keep telling a child that there's something wrong with you, I think at some point that child's going to grow up with a lot of anxiety. For one, the parents are always telling him, and that's someone living with you all the time who's telling you you're an underperformer. It's toxic, and then you get a diagnostic test telling you that yes, you are
proving it. Yeah,
I think that's crazy.
It is.
I think then all of us would have had some condition or the other. And what are we benchmarking to? I don't see what the benchmark is. Look at the variety of human beings. You're going to have 7 billion fit into a box, So I think we have to make room for imperfection.
Yeah.
We have to, as parents, and again, it's coming down to it's like the Chinese called it the 4-2-1. You have 4 grandparents, 2 parents, and 1 child. So all the pressure of expectation of everything,
Pyramid. Yeah.
the resources are available.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pressure is incredible.
I know.
It's coming at a price. I've given you everything. Now why aren't you performing? Everyone can't be an Elon Musk, yeah?
Yeah.
And even he's not perfect. You can see how much effort he puts in. But it's not so easy for a child sitting at 18 to visualize a vision. And most of us at 40 don't have a vision what to do with our lives. You're expecting an 18-year-old to spew wisdom on what he wants to do. And that somehow, like with obesity, I always tell the kids, it's not what you're eating. It's what's eating you. There's something eating you under your head. And the same thing ate all of us.
Yeah.
But for them, it's being fed, which is really bothering me. And not in all their cases. Many of them have supportive parents. Like you said, the toxic relationship may be coming from outside the house. True. But I think as parents, we can sort of create that little bit of buffer saying, you know what, there's no perfection.
Yeah.
It's all good. Come home.
Don't worry, you're perfect. That's
You're
what
fine. You're fine as you are.
Yeah.
And we'll take our time.
Yeah.
It's an 80, 100-year life, man. Take your time. There's no rush. Go see the world. You'll figure out that refined carbs affect you. So you'll figure it out. And at some point, you let it go. I have found with my own parenting that having faith, that you had faith in yourself, it still took you 20, 30 years to turn yourself around. Have faith in your kids. It'll take them. But give the resources. Don't do transactions, man, all the time, Do this, you'll get this. Don't do this, I'll withdraw this. I think that transactional parenting is so old because they are getting their knowledge and inspiration from social media.
I know.
They don't need you anymore.
So I was speaking to one of my colleague who's well learned, educated. He's a PhD himself, but in the field of energy somewhere, right? But not in the medicine area. And he was such a fit guy at the young age, and then he suddenly, like somewhere around 24, 25, started picking up weight, and he's overweight to the extent where he can't take it now, right? He's around 35, 40, somewhere around that age bracket. And he comes back to me, and I was telling him that, I'm going to interview you today. And he told me that, can you ask him this question, that because he has so much of knowledge, he's well educated, he does research a lot of stuff, And then he came up to this. Somebody asked me to eat millets. So I've tried for 3 months. Somebody asked me to do OMAD, like 1 meal a day. Yeah. Somebody said interim fasting. Then I tried that. Somebody said you can't take carbs. Then I tried that. In the last 3 years, he tried 12 or 13 different methodologies. Someone comes with some methodologies, some rule out, says like, this is the way to go about life. How do you deal with this? I mean, do clients come to you and say, okay, I've tried all these methodologies, but I'm not losing it? And it's not that he don't go to gym, like he does. But the problem is once you're overweight, your body cannot, you cannot do treadmill for 30 minutes. That's not practical.
True.
So how do you solve this problem? Is there a solution at all? Or answer to this particular person who tried 12, 13 types of things.
The answer is setting the right goals first. If weight gain is in your destiny, you settle down. Like I have gained 25 kg since I was 18 years old. That's a normal weight gain. But I haven't gained a gram of fat since then.
Okay.
The challenge is how do you not keep talking? As a human race, we are going to get heavier because of resources available, but we need not get fatter.
Okay.
So the fat percent has to be below 20. And you see, any of these conditions, they are directly proportional to fat percent, to visceral fat. They are not proportional to weight.
Okay.
So we have to stop talking about weight. Otherwise, the child will grow up in a complex thinking, I'm overweight, I'm obese. You're not. You're just over fat percent. So I know, like even me, my BMI is 27, but my fat percent is 12. Dwayne Johnson, BMI 34, fat percent is not probably single digits. It's fine to be overweight. We have to normalize that. And someday we will reset the markers in terms of BMI to maybe 30.
I want to underline this statement that you're saying. Guys, it is fine to be overweight. If it is in your destiny, you'll be there. But as Dr. Malhar is saying, it's understanding that balance, making sure that your fat is not increasing, right?
Your quality of life has to be maintained.
Okay.
If your mobility is getting affected and you have fat, as it's called ectopic fat, which is in the wrong places, like in between the thighs, not letting you run, or on your hips in women, it creates a little difficulty biomechanically. Then you realize you need to go do something. Other than that, I think it's just a lot of hullabaloo about nothing. You know, we're just making a lot of discussion on, and if you've got the gene from both sides, then weight gain is inevitable. And high calorie environments are an inevitability. What I get frustrated with this field is people are on a diet 365 days
Yeah.
a year. That's not possible. You can't move from a diet to the next to the next. You have to settle down with a certain level, saying, I'm not going to be perfect. Why am I trying?